So let us continue the chapter current electricity, which we have already started last time. Let us revise first of all whatever we have done so far, last lecture. Yes. What we have seen in the first lecture, in the first slide. That is, first of all, you have seen the concept of potential difference, and we have seen the relationship between the potential difference and electric intensity in case of current electricity. Then in the next slide, we have just seen the expression for the current density. So current density के बारे में डिटेल में हमने डिस्कस किया और उसके बाद फिर रेजिस्टेंस के बारे में हमने डिटेल में देखा, राइट। और रेजिस्टेंस का जो स्पेसिफिक रेजिस्टेंस जो है, स्पेसिफिक रेजिस्टेंस जिसको ही हम रेजिस्टिविटी भी बोलते हैं, उसके बारे में हमने डिटेल में देखा। और उसके बाद हमने कंडक्टिविटी के बारे में भी देखा। एंड देन वी हैव जस्ट सीन द रिलेशनशिप बिटवीन द रेजिस्टेंस एंड टेम्परेचर एक्चुअली। तो रेजिस्टेंस और टेम्परेचर के बीच में जो रिलेशनशिप है तो वो भी हमने देखा एक्स्ट्रा ठीक से, और उसका ग्राफ वगैरह भी देखा। और उसके बाद नेक्स्ट लेक्चर में हमने माइक्रोस्कोपिक फॉर्म ऑफ ओम्स लॉ देखने के लिए हमने कुछ कॉन्सेप्ट इंट्रोड्यूस किए। सबसे पहला कॉन्सेप्ट है द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ द इलेक्ट्रॉन डेंसिटी, which is the number of electrons per unit volume of the conductor. That is actually called as the electron density, which depends on the conductor itself. तो मेटालिक कंडक्टर जो है तो वो सोडियम, मैग्नीशियम, एल्यूमिनियम को कंपेयर करके मैंने बताया था कि जैसे सोडियम या पोटेशियम या जो फर्स्ट ग्रुप के अंदर जो भी सारे एलिमेंट्स है उनका जो इलेक्ट्रॉन डेंसिटी है, फ्री इलेक्ट्रॉन डेंसिटी एक्चुअली will be very small. But in case of magnesium or calcium or all the elements which are going to be there in the second group, second periodic table के अंदर second group में जो रहते हैं magnesium के नीचे, उनका जो number of electron density है वो थोड़ा ज्यादा रहने वाला है, ठीक है। और उसके बाद फिर aluminium और gallium and so on, all the metals or elements which are below this aluminium in the third group will have a larger number of electron density in that case here. Also, we have seen the concept of drift velocity, that is the distance traveled by the electrons per unit time, the ratio of distance traveled by the electrons per unit time. If suppose we consider the electron to move from the one endpoint to another endpoint at, then the total length of conductor upon time t gives us the drift velocity actually. Also, we have just derived the formula for current in terms of drift velocity. Also, we have the current density also in terms of drift velocity, and also we have just seen the relationship between the number of electrons crossing per unit time, which happens to be actually the ratio of current to the electronic charge here. Now we can just go to the next screen to discuss today's topic. Yes. So see here, today we are to just actually describe the Ohm's law in vector form or Ohm's law in macroscopic form. तो वो हमको देखना है. So let us see. Yes. Let us consider the conductor which contains the electrons and atoms. So these are the atoms. You can just denote them by this way, or just these are actually the atoms. Okay, and we can just draw the electrons also. So electrons will be drawn like this by the dots. which are comparatively smaller in size in this way. So ये electrons है. Okay. So here in this case, we already have seen last time that if suppose the potential difference V is applied across the terminals of this conductor, V इतना potential difference अगर हम apply करते हैं, so there is a uniform electric field produced in the interior of this conductor. Suppose this is a positive terminal and this is connected to the negative terminal with potential difference V here. Then electric field E will be produced in the space between the two plates or between the two endpoints of this conductor, which is directed from positive to negative here. तो ये पॉजिटिव से नेगेटिव की तरफ यहाँ पे एक इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड पैदा होगा जिसका वैल्यू E के बराबर होगा. ठीक है. अभी ये जो इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड है तो उसकी वजह से हर एक इलेक्ट्रॉन के ऊपर, एटम के ऊपर नहीं है, इलेक्ट्रॉन के ऊपर मैं बात कर रहा हूँ, इलेक्ट्रॉन विल एक्सपीरियंस अ फोर्स इन दिस डायरेक्शन. Okay, so every electron will just start experiencing a force in the opposite direction, which will be given by the formula F is equal to, okay, what is the formula for the force acting on a charge when it is placed in an electric field? So it will be equal to F is equal to Q into E. ये एक simple formula है force acting on a charge whenever it is placed in electric field उसके लिए. तो यहाँ पे just charge जो है तो वो electronic charge के बराबर है और जो इलेक्ट्रिक इंटेंसिटी है तो वो E के बराबर है, जो कि हमने कल ही निकाला था कि E is actually going to be equal to V upon L, where V is going to be the potential difference between the two end points of the conductor and L is going to be the length of conductor. So we can just get this F is equal to E into E, where E is going to be the charge and E is going to be the electric intensity here. We can just put this value of E here anytime. But just wait, keep it as it is, and then we can just calculate acceleration, because we know that the acceleration of any particle is always going to be the force divided by mass. So if we just consider the mass of electron to be m, then in this case the acceleration of the electron can be obtained to be simply equal to E into capital E upon m, where m is going to be the mass of this electron here. Okay, so acceleration is obtained here. So with this acceleration, the electron will just start moving. Okay, so in the opposite direction to that of the electric field. तो इस electric field के opposite direction में ये electron move करना चालू करेगा. ठीक है. But when this electron will just accelerate, its motion will be an accelerated one until it collides with the atom. तो जब तक वो atom के साथ collide करता है, तब तक उसका motion accelerated motion होगा. और उसकी वजह से जैसे ही वो कोलाइड करेगा तो इट विल जस्ट रिटर्न बैक एंड विल जस्ट मूव फर्दर एंड कोलाइड विथ अनदर एटम हियर. अगेन विल रिटर्न बैक एंड कोलाइड विथ अनदर एटम एट दिस पॉइंट एंड अगेन जस्ट कोलाइड ऑन अनदर एटम एंड विल गो ऑन लाइक दिस. सो दिस विल कंटिन्यू इन दिस वे. तो इलेक्ट्रॉन विल जस्ट कंटिन्यू टू मूव टू एंड फ्रो मेनी टाइम्स बिटवीन द मोशन here in this way, and last finally it will just exit out from this other point of the conductor, and hence we can clearly see that the motion of electron will not be a straight in short, but it will be a zigzag like this. तो ये जो motion इलेक्ट्रॉन का वो इस तरह से zigzag होगा, जिसमें हम देख सकते हैं clearly कि it will just move further and again backwards, again forward, again backward, and in this way. But here in this case we have to imagine that electrons just starts moving from this point. The electron to move at this point here is going to be, and the ratio of that length upon time is actually called as the drift velocity. But in other words, drift velocity has another point of view. Drift velocity को हम अलग एक point of view से देख सकते हैं. It is going to be the average velocity of all the electrons to move from this point to this. So ये जो average velocity है move करने का, if suppose one electron is moving with velocity v1, another electron is moving with velocity v2, and so on like that, then we can just find out the average all the velocities of all the electrons and we can call it as a drift velocity basically. So drift velocity का ये अलग point of view है, and both of them will be the same only, no doubt. So here we have to find out that drift velocity by using the average method. तो एवरेज वाला मेथड यूज करने के लिए हमको एक पर्टिकुलर इलेक्ट्रॉन के ऊपर फोकस करना पड़ेगा और उसका जो मोशन है वो दो कोलिजन्स के बीच में हमको okay, we'll have to focus on the single electron, and it's we have to focus on the motion of electron between the two collisions. Okay, मतलब एक जो इलेक्ट्रॉन जब कोलिजन परफॉर्म करता है तो उन कोलिजन्स के दौरान उसका जो मोशन है तो वो हमको यहाँ पे फोकस करना है. And when we will do that, we'll just understand that the motion of electron will be an accelerated one, and we can just use the first kinematic equation in this case here. So we can just get that for first electron, we can just get that the velocity of electron after time t will be actually given by the initial velocity of that electron plus acceleration of electron into time t here, t1 we can say. So this is the equation obtained by first electron, for first electron. Again, we can just create equation for second electron also, v2 we can say, which will be actually u2 plus a into 2s. And in the same way, we can just continue and talk about the nth electron in general, which will be actually velocity of nth electron will be actually un, that is the initial velocity of nth electron plus acceleration, which is constant for all electrons, and that is multiplied by time required for this nth electron to collide with another atom finally. तो ये हमको यहाँ पे मिल रहा है. Yes. So अभी हम we are now in a position to take the average of all these equations here. So in order to take the average, we'll have to add all the equations and divide by n. So we can just get this v1 plus v2, or we can just compactly write it as summation of v1 or summation of v here simply, that is equal to, अगर हम इसको ऐड करेंगे तो हमको मिलेगा summation of v is equal to summation of u's plus a is common, and here it will be summation of times. Okay, and if we just divide this whole thing by n, so every term will be divided by n in this way here, so that this summation of v divided by n, actually it is called as the drift velocity, which we can denote it by vd, and that is going to be equal to the average initial velocity of all the electrons is going to be 0 just because of randomness. तो रैंडमनेस की वजह से इनिशियली कोई इलेक्ट्रॉन इस तरफ ऊपर की तरफ होगा, कोई इलेक्ट्रॉन नीचे की तरफ जा रहा होगा, कोई लेफ्ट राइट फ्रंट बॉटम, and because of that we can just consider the initial velocity of all electrons to be 0, and finally a is going to be the constant out, and this average value of time interval between any two collisions of electrons made by with atoms will be called as the relaxation time. It is again new concept here, which is denoted by tau in this case here. Okay, so relaxation time, it is denoted by tau, and hence we get the relationship between the drift velocity and relaxation time, that is vd is equal to simply a into tau, which can also be written in terms of electric intensity and mass of electron. If we just put the value of a here, a का जो वैल्यू हमारे पास ऑलरेडी है जो कि e into capital E upon m है, तो उसको यहाँ पे डालने से हमको मिल जाएगा E into capital E upon m into tau. So this is actually going to be the relationship between the drift velocity and the relaxation time. Remember here. So because of this drift velocity, okay, so we have found out the drift velocity in terms of this time here. Yes, and now we can just express this Ohm's law in terms of vector form or in terms of microscopic form. See how we know that this potential difference between the two endpoints of a metallic conductor is always equal to the current into resistance, right? So in this case, we can just replace this potential difference to be simply equal to E into L, correct है? अगर E is equal to V upon L है, तो फिर V को हम E into L लिख सकते हैं कि नहीं? जरूर. So इसलिए इस potential difference को हमको लिखना है in terms of intensity and into length of conductor. That's it. here current can be expressed in terms of current density. करंट डेंसिटी की फॉर्म में उसको हम लिखेंगे तो वो बन जाएगा J into A here, where J stands for current density and A is nothing but the area, no doubt. And then we can just write down this R, where R is going to be the resistance. Okay, तो current के बदले हमने J into A replace कर दिया. अभी हमको R को replace करना है. R is going to be the resistance, which can be expressed in terms of a microscopic quantity called as the resistivity. देखो पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस को हमने माइक्रोस्कोपिक क्वांटिटी के अंदर एक्सप्रेस किया, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज इलेक्ट्रिक इंटेंसिटी. ओके, करंट को हमने एक माइक्रोस्कोपिक क्वांटिटी के फॉर्म में एक्सप्रेस किया जिसको हम बोल सकते हैं करंट डेंसिटी. ओके, आर को भी हमको एक्सप्रेस करना है इन टर्म्स ऑफ अ माइक्रोस्कोपिक क्वांटिटी कॉल्ड एज रेजिस्टिविटी, व्हिच कैन बी एक्सप्रेस्ड एज आर इज इक्वल टू रो इनटू एल अपॉन ए, एज वी ऑलरेडी प्रूव्ड लास्ट टाइम. सो इफ यू जस्ट ओके, और एक बात यहाँ पे हमको समझनी है, वी हैव एक्सप्रेस दिस पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस इन टर्म्स ऑफ अ वेक्टर क्वांटिटी, इलेक्ट्रिक इंटेंसिटी हियर. ओके, एंड करंट आल्सो व्हिच इज अ स्केलर वन is expressed in terms of a vector quantity which is nothing but the current density actually. तो देखो current is a scalar quantity but current density is vector one. Again potential difference is a scalar quantity but electric intensity is going to be a vector quantity here. And hence we can just say we have expressed every scalar quantity in this Ohm's law in terms of a vector quantity here in this case, right? And also we have expressed this macroscopic quantity in Ohm's law in terms of a microscopic quantity in this case here. E, J and this rho is actually going to be the microscopic quantities, which when expressed here, we can get a microscopic form of Ohm's law just by cancelling out this L from both sides here and also A from both sides, numerator and denominator here. And we will be left with the simple relationship between electric intensity, current density and resistivity to say that the electric intensity is just current density into resistivity. This is actually called as the Ohm's law, simple microscopic form of Ohm's law, just because this potential difference is just replaced by its microscopic form intensity. Again, current is replaced by the current density, which is a microscopic term here. And resistance is again replaced by this resistivity, which is a microscopic form quantity here. All these three quantities, ये जो resistivity जो है, it depends on the material only. Intensity also can be different at different points and is internal property of this conductor. J is also the current density, which may be different from point to point here in this case. So that's why this is called as a microscopic form of Ohm's law. If you want to write it in terms of conductivity, then we can just write it as J is equal to sigma into E, where sigma stands for conductivity. This can also be stated as a simple the microscopic form of Ohm's law. Both of these are called as microscopic form of Ohm's law. And now if you just express this E in terms of a vector, so E को अगर हम vector express करेंगे, so it will be E bar. So here we can say that is E bar, which is the intensity vector, is actually going to be current density vector. Obviously, current will be in the same direction as that of the electric field, and that's why we can just get this as current density vector. And as we know already that this rho is going to be a scalar. Okay, so current density and intensity is going to be the vector, and this rho is going to be the scalar. We can also write this in this way: intensity is equal to resistivity rho into current density vector. So this is actually called as the vector form of Ohm's law. Remember, even we can just express it in terms of conductivity and say that this J bar is going to be equal to conductivity, that is sigma, into E bar here. So the current density and electric intensity are just proportional to each other. And the constant of proportionality between them is simply this sigma, that is called as conductivity here in this case. Okay, so this is actually going to be the expression for Ohm's law in vector form, remember. And also, just as we have already seen last time, the relationship between this current density तो लास्ट टाइम हमने यहाँ पे ऑलरेडी प्रूव किया था कि करंट डेंसिटी का जो रिलेशनशिप है विद द ड्रिफ्ट वेलोसिटी, इफ यू रिमेंबर, आई कैन जस्ट शो इट at this point here. So current density and drift velocity are just related with each other by this relationship here. So we can just recall that J is actually equal to NEVD. Okay. So if we just copy it here, J is equal to NEVD. So we can just have that J is actually equal to NEVD, where N is the number of electrons per unit volume, E is going to be the electronic charge, and VD is going to be the drift velocity. So here in this case, we can just equate the value of J from this equation and from this equation here, so that we can just get this as J को अगर हम equate करेंगे तो एक तरफ हमको मिलेगा E, sorry, sigma into E, and that is going to be actually equal to ये J का value है, और NEVD is going to be another value here, so that we can just get this E to be simply equal to NEVD upon sigma. Okay. Yes. एंड ऑल्सो VD का जो ये वैल्यू है, तो ये भी हम यहाँ पे डाल सकते हैं आराम से. देखो क्या होता है, तो यहाँ पे E जो है उसको हम एक्सप्रेस कर देंगे यहाँ पे NE अपॉन सिग्मा into VD, where VD is actually going to be E into capital E upon M into relaxation time. अब यहाँ पे दोनों तरफ E आ गया देखो ठीक से, so that we can just cancel out it from both sides, and what we'll be able to is simply, so 1 is equal to N as it is into E square into tau, and that is to be divided by sigma into M. Okay, so relaxation time के लिए भी हमारे पास एक फॉर्मूला मिल गया. Relaxation time happens to be actually equal to M into sigma upon N into E square, correct? Even we can just express it in terms of resistivity also. If you want to express it in terms of resistivity, just replace this sigma by 1 upon rho and get it as M upon N rho into E square as it is. So this is also the formula for relaxation time in short. So this formula actually proves what happens to the relaxation time if temperature is increased. So if we want to express or discuss the effect of temperature here, then we already proved that last lecture that rho is rho at the high temperature is always equal to rho at low temperature into 1 plus alpha into delta T, correct hai? That means with the increase in temperature, as the temperature goes on increasing, so we can just say that this rho also goes on increasing. And since this rho increases, which is there present there in the denominator here, so as rho increases, the relaxation time will actually decrease. And hence we can just say that with respect to temperature, the relaxation time actually decreases for any metallic conductor, remember. Okay, so this is the expression for relaxation time in terms of conductivity as well as resistivity. Okay. Yes. So all these relationships are to be remembered. ये सारे relationships जो है तुमको याद रखने अच्छी तरह से, so that you can use it at any time. कोई भी equation के ऊपर question पूछा जा सकता है जरूर. Even we can just equate this value of drift velocity. ये जो value drift velocity का है उसको हम इक्वेट कर सकते हैं जो हमने कल डिराइव किया था. ड्रिफ्ट वेलोसिटी के लिए क्या हमने डिराइव किया था? ड्रिफ्ट वेलोसिटी और करंट के बीच में भी हमने एक रिलेशनशिप डिराइव किया था, याद होगा आपको. I is equal to NAE into VD, करेक्ट है? तो ये एक ड्रिफ्ट वेलोसिटी का फॉर्मूला है. तो VD is going to be actually equal to I upon NAE here. So if you just equate this with this one here, यहाँ पे ड्रिफ्ट वेलोसिटी का और एक फॉर्मूला हमको मिल रहा है. जो कि drift velocity is equal to E into capital E upon M into tau, where tau is called as relaxation time. So if we just equate both of these equations here, then we can just be able to get this I upon NAE, which is going to be equal to E into capital E upon M into tau. So that we can just get the relationship between E and tau again. Or we can just get this I upon A to be simply J. So that we can just get this J upon NE, which is going to be equal to E upon M into tau. So that which can be expressed as, if we just express this J in this way, so J will be actually equal to NE उस तरफ चला जाएगा तो हमको मिलेगा N into E square into tau upon M into E here, which shows that this J and E are just proportional to each other, and the constant of proportionality between them is actually again here. We can just see that we can just compare this equation with this one here, okay, जो कि J equal to sigma into E होता है. तो इससे हमको पता चलता है कि ये जो constant of proportionality है यहाँ पे J और E के बीच में, वो एक्चुअली सिग्मा होना चाहिए. ये कंडक्टिविटी जो है, तो कंडक्टिविटी कैन ऑब्टेन टू बी सिंपली इक्वल टू NE square into tau upon M in this case. Or even resistivity can also be expressed in terms of tau, that is M upon NE square into tau here. Once again the same relationship we are going to get here. तो resistivity के लिए हमको, resistivity किस चीज के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है? किसी भी सब्सटेंस का resistivity डिपेंड करता है एक तो नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन डेंसिटी के ऊपर और दूसरा रिलैक्सेशन टाइम के ऊपर. से so relaxation time may be given because it is very difficult to find out that, and number of electron density, जैसे number of electron density बढ़ता है तो वैसे ये resistivity है वो घटता है, जिसका मतलब है कंडक्टिविटी एक्चुअली बढ़ता है. ऑब्वियसली बात है ना कि सोडियम के बारे में हमको पता है कि नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन डेंसिटी बहुत कम है, ठीक है. सोडियम का नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन डेंसिटी बहुत कम है, तो जरूर उसका कंडक्टिविटी भी तो कम होगा, राइट. फिर वापस मैग्नीशियम के बारे में अगर देखते हैं तो उसका नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन डेंसिटी ज्यादा है, तो जरूर उसका कंडक्टिविटी भी तो ज्यादा होगा, बिल्कुल. और एल्यूमिनियम का सबसे ज्यादा होगा क्योंकि उसका नंबर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन डेंसिटी सबसे ज्यादा है, तो इसलिए उसका कंडक्टिविटी ज्यादा होगा. और कंडक्टिविटी ज्यादा का मतलब रेजिस्टिविटी कम, वो तो उसमें आ ही गया, ठीक है, उसमें वो बंधा हुआ ही है, बिल्कुल. So this is all the concept about the metallic conductors, and this is all about the Ohm's in case of microscopic form. Yes. अगर इसमें कुछ डाउट है तो you can just put it in the chat box or just unmute yourself and ask it here. Okay, so let us go to the next concept in this chapter then. तो करंट इलेक्ट्रिसिटी के अंदर हमने उसके बाद ये देखा पावर का जो कंसेप्ट है. ओके, सबसे पहले हम ये देखेंगे ईएमएफ और पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस के बीच में क्या रिलेशनशिप और क्या डिफरेंसेस पॉइंट होते हैं. देखो क्या होता है कि कोई भी सेल जो है, ये सपोज एक सेल है, तो इस सेल का ईएमएफ एक अलग चीज होता है, और उस सेल को जब हम कनेक्ट करते हैं प्रैक्टिकली किसी रेजिस्टेंस के अक्रॉस, तो उस रेजिस्टेंस के अक्रॉस आने वाला पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस ये एक अलग चीज होता है. तो याद रखो ठीक से, EMF is always going to be greater than this potential difference just because the EMF is going to be the total energy supplied by the cell to circulate 1 coulomb charge once around the whole circuit. तो इसलिए EMF का फॉर्मूला क्या होगा? The total energy supplied, which is going to be the to circulate 1 coulomb charge once around the whole circuit. So we can just get that the W circulation, or we can just say, चलो ठीक है, ये याद रखो ठीक से कि the EMF is going to be the work that is to be done in order to circulate 1 coulomb charge once around the whole circuit. Okay, and potential difference is going to be the work done in order to send a 1 coulomb charge from one point to another point in the external circuit only. And there is a concept of small v here, that is the potential difference across the battery itself. ठीक है, internal potential difference इसको हम बोलते हैं, internal PD of a cell. So what is internal PD of a cell? It is the work needed to send 1 coulomb charge from negative terminal to positive terminal only of the cell itself. तो सेल के अंदर चार्ज मूव करने के लिए, 1 coulomb चार्ज मूव करने के लिए जितना एनर्जी लगता है या जितना वर्क डन करना पड़ता है, तो उसको हम बोलते हैं the internal PD of a cell. Okay, so we can just make clear that the total work needed to circulate 1 coulomb charge or q coulomb charge will actually be q into E, we can say. Okay, or simply we can say E into q here, which should be equal to the sum of the total work needed in order to send 1 coulomb charge or q coulomb charge from one point to another point in external circuit, that is V into q here, plus the total work done to send 1 q coulomb charge in the cell itself. तो सेल के अंदर जो चार्ज सेंड करने के लिए जो हमको वर्क डन करना पड़ता है, तो दैट इज गोइंग टू बी द v into capital Q. So if you just divide this whole thing by capital Q in this case here, ये दोनों तरफ अगर हमने Q से अगर डिवाइड कर दिया तो हमको क्या बचेगा, देखो, तो हमको मिलेगा सिंपली E, which is going to be equal to capital V plus small v, where capital V, according to the Ohm's law, if suppose I is going to be the current flowing through this circuit, then we can just call it as a I into R, capital R, where capital R is going to be the external resistance. And if suppose the small r is the internal resistance of this cell, then the same current is going to flowing from the internal cell also. So cell में से भी उतना ही करंट जा रहा है, तो इसलिए यहाँ पे ये जो सेम करंट इंटरनल रेजिस्टेंस R के थ्रू जाएगा, तो इसकी वजह से हमको यहाँ पे I इंटू स्मॉल r मिल जाएगा, जिसकी वजह से यहाँ पे E जो है उसको हम लिख सकेंगे I can be taken common and R plus small r can be written as a final. So this is called as the Ohm's law applied on complete circuit. Remember, which can also be written like this: I is the ratio of the total EMF in the circuit upon total resistance of the circuit, including the internal resistance also. तो internal resistance और external resistance सब मिला के जो resistance बनता है उसको हम बोलते हैं total resistance in the circuit. और जो ये potential difference और internal PD दोनों मिला के जो बनता है उसको हम बोलते हैं total EMF of the cell. And this is the called as the Ohm's law applied on complete circuit. And I, when we say that I is equal to simply R, then it is called as the Ohm's law applied on external circuit only. So after all, I is going to be the same in both of these cases. So here, तो ये दोनों जो equations है वो हमको अच्छी तरह से याद रखनी है. This is the basically difference between EMF and potential difference. One more thing is to be noted here that EMF happens to be, यहाँ पे जैसे हमने देखा कि EMF is always equal to the potential difference, terminal potential difference of the cell plus internal PD of the cell. So you can just get this as capital V plus small v. But as we are just proved that the small v is actually going to be the product of current and resistance, internal resistance of the cell. So you can just replace it by that and get this as E is equal to V plus I into R as the equation for any cell in general. तो किसी भी सेल के बारे में होता है, even we can just express it in terms of V is equal to E minus IR. What is the significance of this equation is here this capital E is going to be a constant and also going to be a constant, which is associated with the cell itself. But I and V are the variables. So ये V और I जो है तो ये variables है. They change according to the external resistance. जो external resistance हम यहाँ पे apply करेंगे तो उसके हिसाब से ये बदलेगा, I और V बदलेगा, लेकिन E जो है EMF of the cell never changes. Even the internal resistance of a cell also never changes. जब तक खुद सेल नहीं बदलता obviously. तो इसलिए हम यहाँ पे दो केसेस कंसिडर कर सकते हैं. तो अगर ये V is equal to E minus IR, इसको अगर सामने रखते हैं तो सबसे पहला केस हम यहाँ पे कंसिडर कर सकते हैं, जबकि यहाँ पे हमने करंट एक्सटर्नल रेजिस्टेंस जो है वो अगर 0 रखा तो फिर क्या होगा? When the external resistance will become 0, so in that case V will also become 0. चेक करो ठीक से, V will be 0, मतलब external potential difference will be 0. But in that case, the maximum current will be flowing in this circuit because V is going to be, so अगर यहाँ पे V के बदले 0 डाल देंगे तो हमको यहाँ पे मिलेगा 0 is equal to E minus IR, and in that case I into R should be equal to E, so that I can be found out to be simply equal to E upon R, and this current here is actually called as the short circuited current. Remember why it is called so? Because we have kept the external resistance 0. external resistance ही नहीं रखा हमने, डायरेक्ट इन बैटरी के जो दो टर्मिनल्स है उन दोनों को अगर आपस में कनेक्ट कर दो डायरेक्ट बिना रेजिस्टेंस के, तो उस केस में सबसे ज्यादा करंट फ्लो हो रहा है और वो शॉर्ट सर्किटेड करंट कहलाता है। और उसके बाद हम देखते हैं कि अगर सपोज एक्सटर्नल रेजिस्टेंस जो है वो अगर हम इनफाइनाइट रखते हैं, दैट इज द केस 2 वी कैन जस्ट डिस्कस हियर। if we suppose keep external resistance infinite, that means the current in the circuit is going to be 0, because अगर external resistance अगर 0 infinite रखेंगे तो current flow ही नहीं होगा, है कि नहीं? And when this current doesn't flow in the circuit, so in that case we can just get that I is going to be 0. So in that case we can say V is going to be same as E here in this case. So the potential difference between the two terminals of the battery is same as the EMF of the battery, which is also called as the open circuited voltage. So open circuited voltage is always equal to the EMF of the battery. तो open circuit मतलब क्या? जिसमें करंट फ्लो नहीं होता या जिसमें रेजिस्टेंस कंप्लीट 0 होता है। मतलब इन शॉर्ट क्या है ना कि हमने ये दो वायर्स जो है, ये सपोज बैटरी है और इस बैटरी के ये दोनों वायर्स जो है वो टच नहीं किए, एक दूसरे को कनेक्ट किए ही नहीं। तो जब एक अगर कनेक्ट ही नहीं करेंगे तो करंट तो 0 ही रहेगा, और करंट 0 मतलब रेजिस्टेंस इनफाइनाइट रहेगा, और जब रेजिस्टेंस इनफाइनाइट रहेगा तो इन दो पॉइंट्स के बीच में पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस कितना रहेगा? सेम एज द ईएमएफ ऑफ द सेल हियर. सो दिस इज गोइंग टू बी द second case here. Okay, remember, and there is a concept of the maximum power transfer theorem. Remember what is maximum power transfer theorem tells us is, if suppose we have a circuit which has a battery of EMF E and internal resistance R, and suppose we have a external resistance which is going to be a variable. Okay, ये external resistance R जो है वो variable है, तो in this case the maximum power transfer theorem tells us that the power transferred will be maximum if we just go on changing this external resistance continuously and just see the power transferred by the cell. Then power transferred will be maximum only when the internal resistance of the cell is equal to the external resistance. Remember, that means the condition for maximum power is that small r is going to be equal to capital R. This is the condition for maximum power transfer. Remember, this is called as maximum power transfer theorem, which tells us that simply the power transferred by the cell is always maximum when internal resistance of the cell is going to be same as the external resistance of that cell. Okay, तो ये बात याद रखो ठीक से. And that power, maximum power in that case can be obtained just by multiplying the potential difference and current simply, क्योंकि वैसे भी पावर का जो फॉर्मूला है तो वो हमको पता है ऑलरेडी, it is going to be the product of potential difference and the current here in this case. So but we already know that this potential difference itself is going to be the current into resistance actually, and if you multiply it by current then we can just get it as I square into R, right? So here we can just get this I square into R. Or we can just try to express it in terms of क्योंकि यहाँ पे R और R जो है वो तो सेम ही है, तो इसलिए यहाँ पे अगर हम V को एक्सप्रेस करेंगे, yes, R into I and I into I becomes I square, no doubt, but I is actually going to be गिवन बाय दिस इक्वेशन हियर, ये वाला जो फॉर्मूला है इससे हमको I निकालना होगा और वो यहाँ पे रिप्लेस करना होगा, जिससे हमको मिलता है R इंटू, यहाँ पे I के बदले आने वाला है E, that is to be divided by R plus small r और उसका whole square. So this becomes the power in general. But if you want to find out the maximum power, so we can get it as P max. So P max, which will be obtained by just putting R equal to capital R here. Small r के बदले capital R डालना है, जिससे हमको ये मिलता है R into capital E upon 2R. करेक्ट है, 2R, क्योंकि स्मॉल r और कैपिटल R सेम ही है और उसकी वजह से यहाँ पे हमको मिलता है P max is equal to R into, yes, it will be E square upon 4R, so that R gets cancelled once and we get the maximum power transferred by the cell to be simply equal to R cancel and we get this E square upon 4R simply. So EMF ka square upon 4R, this is actually going to be the maximum power transferred by the cell, which takes place only when the internal resistance is going to be the same as external resistance. Let's discuss something about power. See, the power exerted or power delivered is always equal to the potential difference into current, no doubt. So we can just express this power in terms of current, that is I square into R, or we can also express this power in terms of the potential difference only, that is V square upon R, right? So from this formulae, we can just get that power, potential difference, current and resistance or are connected by this using these equations. But most of the times the sums are asked like this. Suppose अगर हमारे पास बल्ब्स है, क्योंकि क्या होता है कि बल्ब का जो रेटिंग होता है, जब हम बोलते हैं कि 60 वैट का बल्ब, तो वो 60 वैट का बल्ब सिर्फ तब होता है जब वो 230 वोल्ट के साथ कनेक्ट किया जाता है से। का बल्ब मतलब हमेशा 60 वैट होगा उसका पावर नहीं, बल्कि जब हम 60 वैट का बल्ब बोलते हैं तो वो एक्चुअली उसका रेजिस्टेंस के ऊपर वो डिपेंड करता है 60 वैट, और वो एक्चुअली 60 वैट तब डिलीवर करता है या तब कंज्यूम करता है जब वो 230 वोल्ट के साथ कनेक्ट किया जाता है। तो इसलिए अगर किसी बल्ब का पावर रेटिंग अगर हमको दिया हुआ है, मान लो एक बल्ब जो है वो उसका पावर रेटिंग P1 है, दूसरा बल्ब सपोज उसका पावर रेटिंग P2 है, तीसरा बल्ब उसका पावर रेटिंग P3 है, तो एक्चुअली ये जो पावर रेटिंग्स है तो वो 230 वोल्ट के हिसाब से बने हुए हैं। इसको हम लिख सकते हैं इस तरह से, पावर रेटिंग ऑफ द फर्स्ट बल्ब इफ इट इज गोइंग टू बी, सो ये जो 230 होता है, 230 उसको हम बोलेंगे मेन सप्लाई, तो P1 कैन बी रिटन 230 square upon R1. So from this we can just get this R1 to be simply equal to 230 square upon P1, करेक्ट है? तो ये हमारा resistance of the first bulb हो गया। In the same way we can just get resistance of the second bulb R2, which will be actually 230 square once again upon P2 here, okay? And resistance of the third bulb can be obtained to be simply equal to 230 the whole square upon P3 actually, okay? तो ये जो पावर रेटिंग हमको दिए जाते हैं बल्ब के, तो वो एक्चुअली पावर रेटिंग तब वैलिड होते हैं जब वो 230 वोल्ट के साथ कनेक्ट किए जाते हैं। लेकिन सोचो अगर हम इन तीन बल्ब्स को अगर सीरीज में कनेक्ट कर देंगे, जस्ट लाइक दिस इज द फर्स्ट बल्ब, दिस इज द सेकंड बल्ब and suppose this is the third bulb and these are connected in series. So what will happen here is, and suppose this series combination is actually connected to mains supply which is of 230 volt here. So इस 230 volt के mains supply के साथ अगर हमने इसको कनेक्ट कर दिया इस तरह से यहाँ पे, ओके, तो क्या होगा? अभी ये जो पावर रेटिंग जो है इन बल्ब्स का भले P1 P2 P3 है नो डाउट, लेकिन फिर क्या एक्चुअली वो पावर उतना कंज्यूम करेंगे? बिल्कुल नहीं, क्योंकि यहाँ पे ये तीनों के अक्रॉस जो टोटल पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस जो है तो वो 230 वोल्ट के बराबर है, ना कि एक के अंदर का पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस 230 है। तो इसलिए इसका जो रेजिस्टेंस है, फर्स्ट बल्ब का जो रेजिस्टेंस R1, सेकेंड बल्ब का रेजिस्टेंस R2 और थर्ड बल्ब का रेजिस्टेंस R3 जो है ये फिर ऐड हो जाएंगे and we can just get that RS will be equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3 in this case. And if we just replace this R1, R2 and R3 by these values 230 square by P1, 230 square by P2 plus P2, 230 square by P3 here, then we can be able to take this 230 square common from this whole bracket, right? So this 230 has been taken common square and we'll be left with 1 upon P1 plus 1 upon P2 plus 1 upon P3 in this case. But the effective resistance of this all the bulbs is going to consume a power PS, suppose in this case. Then we can just get that since the potential difference between this combination is 230 here, same formula for resistance can be applied here in this case of power also. So power PS can be written to be equal to 230 square upon RS, and hence we can just replace this RS simply by 230 ka whole square upon PS, where PS is the actual power consumed by this combination. So 230 square just gets cancelled, and we'll get the power consumed by series combination of these three bulbs to be simply equal to given by 1 upon PS is equal to 1 upon P1 plus 1 upon P2 plus 1 upon P3 in this way. That means if suppose the power ratings of three bulbs are given, then their power ratings has to be put in this formula here, so as to get the effective power consumed by the combination, series combination. In the same way, if suppose these three bulbs are just connected in parallel combination like this, तो ये तीन bulb जो है इस तरह से parallel combination में अगर connect कर दिए, which is connected to the 230 volts main supply, then in this case their power can be obtained by using the formula. यहाँ पे रेजिस्टेंसेस जो उनके हैं वो यहाँ पे कंडीशन सेटिस्फाई करेंगे 1 upon Rp is equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon R3. And now if we just put the values of 1 upon R1, 1 upon R2 and 1 upon R3 here from these equations here, then they will just get reciprocal and we'll just get this P1 plus P2 plus P3 in the numerator with this 230 square common in denominator. So this P1 plus P2 plus P3 upon 230 square kept in the denominator as it is, and this will actually be the PP upon 230 square once again, so that this 230 square actually gets cancelled, leaving behind the power consumed by parallel combination of three cells with rating P1, P2, P3 will actually be P1 plus P2 plus P3 in this case here. So we have to remember this correctly. Many questions of this type are asked in exam. Remember. Okay, so यहाँ पे मतलब रेजिस्टेंस के लिए जो सीरीज का फॉर्मूला है तो वो यहाँ पे पावर के लिए पैरेलल में आता है, ठीक है, और जिस जो रेजिस्टेंस के लिए जो पैरेलल का फॉर्मूला है तो वो यहाँ पे पावर के लिए सीरीज में मिलता है. ये उल्टा है, उतना ही याद रखना है हमको अच्छी तरह से. Okay, so this is all about the power. Then we can just talk about the electrical energy in case of a circuit. Suppose we have a cell and suppose this is a resistance connected across cell, then the total energy consumed by this cell will be given by Q into V here. Q into potential difference. This is the total energy consumed. Here it is assumed that V is going to be constant. Okay, जो potential difference है terminals के across वो constant है, तो उस केस में हमको ये V into Q मिल जाएगा, जिसमें हम Q को I into T लिख सकते हैं आराम से, और V को एक्चुअली या चलो V को ही लिख देंगे, तो ये एनर्जी कंज्यूम का और एक फॉर्मूला हमको मिल जाएगा VI in this way. So this is again another formula for energy consumed by the cell in time t, and even this energy consumed can also be expressed in terms of resistance in this way. So I into R into I into T. तो ये जो V है इसको ओम्स लॉ यूज करके हमने I into R लिख दिया और इस I into T को वैसे ही रखा, so that we can just get the total energy consumed by in a cell in a circuit in time T will be actually given by I square into R into T. Remember that this all the quantities here are assumed to be constants. Remember, if they are not, अगर वो कांस्टेंट नहीं है तो उस केस में, अगर पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस कांस्टेंट नहीं है तो उस केस में हमको इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ v इंटू डी क्यू करना पड़ेगा, याद रखो ठीक से। और इस डी क्यू को भी हम i इंटू डी टी एक्सप्रेस कर सकते हैं, सो दैट वी कैन जस्ट गेट दिस एज इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ v इंटू i इंटू डी टी as the equation for energy consumed by the in a cell or in a resistance, remember. And even this v can also be expressed in terms of resistance and current. So I into R अगर express करेंगे और resistance at least अगर constant है, so that resistance R can be taken out and we can just be able to get this energy consumed in a resistance R to be simply equal to R into integration of simply I square dt in this case here, remember. Okay, so these are the formulae in general for finding the energy consumed by a cell in a resistance. Okay, and this energy consumed actually is also going to be the integration of power with respect to time, remember. So अगर हमको डायरेक्ट पावर दिया हुआ है in terms of time, अगर पावर का फॉर्मूला टाइम के फॉर्म में दिया हुआ है, you can just integrate this power with respect to time and get a total energy consumed in that time, remember. And yes, so these are the, and even the average power in this case here. So average power का definition क्या होगा कि the total energy consumed, which will be the integration of P into dt upon the total time interval in this case. तो जो भी time interval हमको दिया हुआ है तो उस time interval के अंदर का total energy consumed upon total time will actually give us the average power here in this case. Okay, so this is all about the energy consumed. Okay, now is just let us talk about the combination of cells. देखो रेजिस्टेंस का जो कॉम्बिनेशन है वो तो तुमको ऑलरेडी पता ही है, और लेट अस डू इट नेक्स्ट टाइम आई थिंक. Okay, so let us continue the next part in this chapter in the next lecture on Monday. Okay, so thank you all of you. Bye bye.